the Cocalico Township Supervisor meeting for September 17th order. Please rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting, September 17th, was advertised duly, and they have a review August 12th. First order of business is meeting, passing of the meeting minutes for September 3rd. Except for the meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections? Not a need a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Can I now say executive session on this one? 34 minutes.
Yes, we had an executive session this morning to discuss legal matters. Okay.
So, if you permit me, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to take a moment to address questions and comments that were made at the last meeting. In particular, mostly Mr. Mackley's comments that I was not prepared to answer, that I am now ready to answer. So,
Didn't really hear you.
I know, it's the mask, I'm sorry. I'll try to project. Can I give this to Mr. Mackley? Copy for you. So when it comes to the salary of our new member of our team, it was asked, where's the money coming from to pay her? So you will see down on the bottom, the financial administrator, Elizabeth, was budgeted $87,650. This year, during Elizabeth's life, we paid her $20,112. Judy's salary, from the time she started through the end of this year, will come in at $42,551. That's a total of $62,564. That leaves us under budget by $25,085. The administrative assistant, Paula's position was budgeted at $16,900. To date, and Paula's no longer with us, we paid $15,357. The new girl coming in for her first day through the end of the year will be at $12,500. So that category will be over $27,857. We had budgeted the treasurer at $1,100. Staff currently acting as treasurer, that's our chairman and Mr. Mitchell. Treasurer insisted they are not taking a salary, so we are under budget there, $1,083. Our zoning officer was budgeted at $65,500. We increased his salary with the position of assistant manager. He will come in at $78,000. So that is over budget, $12,769. So when you add up all the overs and unders for the administration staff, at the end of this year, we'll be under budget, $2,441. On the second item, the second question was, what date was the settlement agreement with Crooks Flory? What was the date the check was sent out? And how did you send it out? I did address all those in your right to know request, Mr. Mackley, but for the rest of the residents here, I will address that. The settlement agreement was signed by Mr. Flory on 8/13. It was signed by our chairman on 8/14. When checks were dated 8/19, they were delivered UPS to our Eckert Siemens, who is our attorney, on 8/18 with the proof of delivery of 8/19 at 10:57 a.m. Question 3, comment 3. You commented on Mr. Flory's payment of $17,500. Why did we not list it on the invoices and we tried to hide it under payroll? I spoke with our solicitor on that. He reviewed all of our documents. He said that that indeed was severance pay, and we have internal documentation from our attorney that says that was to be handled via payroll. So we did issue that check as was stated. Comment 5, on March 20th, Mr. Fry announced that there was an emergency executive session. You noted that that emergency is not allowed. Again, I spoke to my solicitor, and he stated that indeed emergency executive sessions are not allowed. And Mr. Mackley, we do apologize to you, and I would like the minutes to show our correction. We did have an emergency meeting, and that emergency meeting was on March 19th. The governor of our state shut down non-life-sustaining businesses. So on March 20th, this board met to determine what we should do as a township. At that time, we determined to close the building down, and immediately following that, all staff was sent home. So that is the reason that we had that emergency session. Our solicitor did say that it indeed was an emergency. We were not able to give the 24-hour notice. That's why we stated it was an emergency. And now the minutes will reflect the true reason, instead of just saying it was an emergency. Your last comment was on 7/7 and 7/22. You noted executive sessions were held and no decisions were made, but then you further gave me, the board gave you directives. Again, our attorney said that that is permissible, but he also noted that you stated that you were talking to your lawyer. So at this time, this now becomes a legal matter, and I cannot respond to you, and I will not be able to respond to you because your representative or your attorney is not here. So you can either give me a documentation noting that you no longer have an attorney, and then I can give you the full answer, but until that point in time, it's now considered a legal matter. And that's everything I have, sir.
Thank you.
Public comments are at the end of the meeting.
Yep. Public comment at the meeting. Thank you. Land planning. Right.
Good evening. The first item on the agenda is Red Run Exhaust. This plan has not been before you. This plan is still in front of the Planning Commission. It has been through several reviews. The project's located directly opposite Redner's Quick Stop on 272. And the applicant has made multiple submissions, is currently waiting primarily on feedback from DEP relative to the NPDS permit application. So rather than getting into too much of the details, the plan will be for you in the future. The current item before you is simply to accept the time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant. So the recommended motion would be to accept the written time extension offer as submitted by the applicant's consultant dated September 1st, 2020, which will extend the deadline for action on the Red Run Exhaust Grahamstown preliminary final land development plan until December 27th, 2020.
And nobody's here to represent that.
I do not expect anybody.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Next project before you would be Carriage Hill. I can give a quick update where we stand. The last real action before the board was on August 20th when the board granted conditional approval of the plan. As you recall, one of the big issues that was entertained quite a bit of discussion at one point was the HOA versus private ownership of the maintenance of the basin by an individual lot owner. That, as was previously reported, has been resolved, and Landmark is establishing the HOA. They have submitted draft HOA documents to Tom and Tom Goodman, Township Solicitor, who's in the process of reviewing those. The applicant has also, subsequent to the granting of conditional approval, submitted an appraisal and provided information calculating the fee in lieu of park and open space land dedication. The applicant has also submitted through their attorney a draft developer's agreement and also submitted more recently, as of September 10th, updated plan submission to deal with relatively minor items on the plan, final coordination of certain notes and other items. So the applicant is aggressively trying to address the remaining conditions of approval. I had developed recommended motions, and I think I'd suggest we kind of reverse the order, and that is to deal with the final item noted in the engineer's report, which is the applicant, in addition to submitting some of these other items, had submitted a letter requesting authorization to apply for an earth disturbance permit from the township to commence limited earth disturbance activities, and had indicated in that request that it would not involve the installation of any infrastructure. The applicant's representative had discussions with both Penny and Tony to kind of get an understanding of where they stood on the matter, and had also reached out to us to see if we had any opposition to it. So I think the first matter to consider is whether the township wants to authorize that. And as I'll let Tony and Penny speak for themselves in terms of what information they shared with the applicant, but in light of the fact that the applicant has an NPDES permit, has approval from the Conservation District, and DEP for relative to the earth disturbance activity and the associated erosion and sedimentation control measures. I would also report that the applicant has provided a bond for the security of the future improvements and signed an improvement guarantee agreement. So one of the other items to deal with tonight would be related to acknowledging that and authorizing the signature of that. So I think every project stands on its own merits and unique nature, but those would be the facts of that report.
Yeah, so I did speak with Carrie Hill, and so did Tony, and we're both in agreement. This is a pretty common practice where earth grading does begin. We did make it very clear that there could be absolutely no infrastructure installed, that this is just movement of earth. So they understood that and are in agreement, and I think between the three of us, Tony, myself, and Brad, we would recommend that they be allowed to do that before their signed plans. If you want to make a motion to that effect?
Yeah, if you're looking for a motion, if there's no, I would suggest the motion would be to acknowledge and authorize the applicant to apply for a township earth disturbance permit in order to commence limited earth disturbance activities consistent with the conditionally approved final plan and operating under the approved NPDES permit, and that would be with the intent to begin grading and of the site to install required erosion and sedimentation control measures, but not authorize installation of other infrastructure.
You want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make that.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
In light of that, of the other 5 motions I had indicated, these are administrative items. We're trying to kind of check things off and get things off the list as we can. I think in light of them being allowed to be freed up and move some earth, I think we'll pass on the last 2, the bottom 2, and reserve those for a future meeting. So the motions we would suggest you handle tonight would be, the first one would be relative to the park and open space fee in lieu of, and as I indicated, based on the state certified appraisal, Tom Goodman's review of that document, and the associated calculations to determine the fee came out to in the amount of $62,475. So the suggested motion would be to acknowledge acceptance of the park and open space fee in lieu of land dedication in the amount of $62,475 as calculated and offered by the applicant in accordance with section 194.46B4 of the subdivision land development ordinance based upon a certified appraisal and as reviewed and confirmed to be correct by the township solicitor.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Next would be to authorize the Board of Supervisors to sign the stormwater maintenance and easement agreement when signed by the applicant and submitted to the township in a form acceptable to the township solicitor.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Next motion would be to authorize the Board of Supervisors to sign the improvement guarantee agreement when signed by the applicant, submitted to the township in a form acceptable to the township solicitor and accompanied by the required financial security in the amount of $1,888,151.96 in a form acceptable to the township and township solicitor. I would just add a sub-note to that, that subsequent to the formation of this motion, Tom has acknowledged that the IDA and the accompanying security are appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
And maybe just to clarify for the record and then others that don't have the document before you, the other motions that we were considering would be to authorize signature of the plan upon the applicant satisfying all conditions, and also authorizing the board to sign the developer's agreement when it is finalized in a form satisfactory to the township solicitor. I'm abbreviating that a little bit, but at this point, since the applicant's allowed to proceed, we will deal with those after Tom and I complete our review of the draft agreement and the draft HOA documents. So that would be all, Gary Chair,
Thank you.
unless there's any other questions. The final item on our engineer's report would be NHT Holdings. That was the completed project on South Muddy Creek Road. We're at the final step here, and that is to authorize full release of the remaining security. There had been a as-built plan information submitted. There had also been some on-site meetings, site review conducted by Casey, and a follow-up correspondence issued to the township. So the recommended motion would be to authorize the full release of the current financial security being held for the NHT Holdings LLC preliminary final land development plan in the amount of $28,000 upon the applicant's consultant completing the minor remaining items as highlighted in the Becker email correspondence dated September 11, 2020.
Nobody's here for that.
No, I do not expect it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Are there any other questions or questions relative to landfill? No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Casey.
Newsletter, permission to send the 2020 summer fall newsletter to the printer. What's the wish of the board?
Penny, when is that? When is that?
Lisa would like to get that as soon as
Lisa.
possible. It's
Lisa.
fall, summer, fall, and we're already at fall.
Two release,
All right, I didn't get a chance to look at it.
that's fine.
I'll look at it tomorrow morning, and I'll get it over to you by like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Is that okay?
The motion would be to approve it subject to my time.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get you
Perfect,
Lisa.
yes, everybody please review
feedback
it,
by
the
one.
more eyes on it, the better.
What's the thought on the open page, or is there gonna be something that can get filled in there, or?
I'm looking for ideas.
We need some for the fire companies too.
We have an open page in there, and it probably.
I had provided somebody some email with some prices and stuff with gear and outfitting guys
Yeah.
3-4 weeks ago.
Don't get that in.
I think that kind of carries, I think that's a general thing we put in our mailers, I
I'm
believe.
sure
you get
will
mine,
find
Lisa?
that, and we'll get it in some kind of format.
Lisa, did you get the email I sent back to you today?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
I'll look and see if I can find that and I'll resend it to you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the sending of the 2020 summer fall newsletter upon printer pending final approval from
the township manager. I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. We got that. Police Department, Chief.
Evening.
Evening, Chief.
There were 589 calls for service in August in East, 128 in Denver, totaling 717. That's the busiest month this year. It's not out of the ordinary. It's a normal thing. But we have picked up and been busy since the lull due to COVID. There are 15 reportable crashes, and these are numbers for East now. 5 of those had injuries, 21 non-reportable crashes, 32 traffic citations, 5 warnings, 1 parking ticket, 7 driving under the influence arrests on view, and 3 driving under the influence accidents. So we are somewhat busy at this point. There have been a number of cases, I'll talk about one at the end. The citations issued during the aggressive driving program and the speed details, total was 143. These included areas on Haunstown Road, North Reamstown Road, South Reamstown Road, East Lancaster Avenue in Denver Borough, and North 6th Street in Denver Borough. And most of the citations were issued for speed. We have, our detective is currently in training this week, which he will be attending more in the future, I'm sure. The fall sports season is in full swing, and everyone has, in fact, I attended a soccer game tonight. Everyone seems to be following all the guidelines put out through the school district, and hopefully that continues tomorrow night football game. We have all the plans in place. Everything seems to be going well at the schools in reference to traffic. We have had no issues or no problems. And then the school district is broadcasting a lot of sports on YouTube. So I think that is going to keep people at home, but still be able to watch those sports. If you go to the last page of my report, there was, yes, it's the last page. There was what we would call smash and grab burglary at the one convenience store on North Reading Road. It happened overnight. It actually happened twice. Sergeant Projan, Van Alsdahl, patrol officers, including our forensic officer, did a very thorough and good job. 2 individuals were targeted as suspects. They were arrested in Berks County for similar crimes, where they were smashing windows and going into places and taking cigarettes. For the most part, it was cigarettes. They were caught in Berks County. Sergeant Projan was able to obtain quite a bit of evidence to direct him. These were our individuals or our suspects. So they have been charged accordingly by Sergeant Projan in reference to 2 counts of burglary, 2 counts of criminal conspiracy to commit burglary, criminal trespass, theft by unlawful taking, and criminal mischief. Everything but the criminal mischiefs are felonies. So these individuals are currently lodged in Berks County Prison. So it was a good job done by all, and I'm glad we apprehended these people. We don't have to deal with this at this point. It was a very good job, and I'm very proud of the actions of our officers and all departments.
Thank you. Any questions of the chief? Thank you, Chief. Tony, zoning officer.
Yes, good evening, everybody. You should have a copy of my report. Another busy month in the zoning department. We had 48 applications, 44 permits issued, 17 reviewed, 10 for pickup. We did have 4 new single-family dwelling units permitted in that time period. We had 20 certificates of occupancy issued and 6 false alarm violations. The September zoning hearing board, we had Mr. Richard Edwards before the board looking for a special exception and a variance in in relation to the Wells Fargo Bank there in the Reamstown Square. He is purchasing that property and looking to rent it out for a hair salon. I do have a new case for October. A gentleman is up on 436 Hill Road, Clinton Road, is looking for a rural occupation on that property. The board will remember that the previous owner had that, and he had a landscaping business at that property. It was recently sold. Mr. Rick bought it. I had code enforcement issue out at the 2600 block of North Reading Road. The owner of the property was building a new building to the rear of the existing barn and doing renovations in the barn for a commercial business. Once I got a hold of the owner, he stopped all operations in the building. There was possible zoning approval that he needs to get before he can proceed, and also a stormwater management plan would be required for the additional impervious ground cover that he's putting on that site. The township engineer and myself did have a second visit with the owner to go through the stormwater management plan for that site. Needless to say, the owner stated that he didn't have any idea he needed a stormwater management plan for that property. 316 Hill Road, we responded to that. I got a phone call one evening, and we met with the fire department, Smokestown, and myself. A tree fell on that house, it had damage to that structure, and permits were issued and approved for the repairs on that site. The MS4 technician and myself met with the owners of 108 Mustang Trail Road and also 181 Longhill Road to evaluate stormwater management facilities that were installed on those properties and to help guide them in maintaining those. One last thing that I'll add, as you know, my department was taking care of the census, the 2020 census, and I'm happy to say Arlene handed me some paperwork today. The last meeting, well, I should say last month's meeting, we were at 79.2% of response from the community, which is pretty good. And I'm happy to say it went up to 80.6%. However, this being very good, we would like to see 100%, so the township gets all the credit that we can from the federal government. So I'm giving the residents a pat on the back, but we still have roughly 20% of our residents that did not respond, and we encourage them to do so, and they can do that with a toll-free line, and they can do it online, and also, and the phones are open Sundays, Sunday through Saturday, so there's really no reason why they can't get a hold of people at the census. Other than that, I'll answer any questions if you have.
Questions of zoning officer? Thank you, Tony.
Yep, you're welcome.
Roadmaster, Brent Pumper.
Good evening. All right. We washed interior and exterior trucks and equipment weekly. Cleaning drains as needed, weather permitting, with the rains, some of the rainstorms we had in the past. Repairing signs as needed, coming in on a daily basis, generating a list of signs that need fixed, straightened, or updated. That's just me kind of getting myself familiar with the township, seeing what needs done, seeing what needs straightened up, seeing what needs fixed, getting a list together so I can have the guys move forward with that. Had a curb warning sign that was down on Brenner's Grove Road. Sent 2 guys out to fix that sign. Had a complaint from Josh Hottmeyer from New Holland Transport about 222 signs being down on South Muddy Creek Road and coming off the off-ramp off the turnpike on Spur Road and awfully onto off the turnpike, and had to call PennDOT, and they were sending a crew out to take a look at those. His concern was most of the traffic that was coming off the turnpike and coming northbound was basically turning around in his parking lot, and he didn't want that any longer. Moving forward, generally list of equipment, year, make, model, mileage, just myself getting familiar with all the equipment that we have, the condition of the equipment we have. Had to get 2 trucks inspected by Reamstown Truck and Auto Center. That was the Chevy pickup and the Dodge mini dump. Wednesday, September 2nd, 2020, helped Alan put the pool cover back on for the winter season. Tuesday, September 16th, regraded the swale inside the pool fence to help water drain off in the fence area. Also needed to add 2 spots with topsoil, seed, and straw matting with stone underneath. Taking care of residents' complaints or concerns as needed. I had a resident from 1250 Piper Hill Road call in and request me to come out and meet him and take a look at the swale on the side of the road that was basically covered up for a long time, and he was pushing the water over the street into his property and not down the crossing pipe of the roadway. Sent the crew out to regrade the swale on and clean the road edge. The resident was very happy. Worked on 20 Merns Hill Road, same kind of idea, regraded swale on the side of the road and added stone to help with draining. The water was pushing down into the guy's property instead of traveling besides his property. Resident called in about the complaint about Homestead Playground not being taken care of. This was one of my bullet points when I had a paving project just recently in Homestead. I noticed that, took pictures of it, and just actually sent a crew out last week to take care of the pulling weeds for possible mulching this year. Also looked into the basketball court up there as far as getting all the lines repainted and pickleball lines. I'm getting a quote from a seal coating company to come out and do the seal coating of that basketball court to help with some of the cracks, and also repaint the basketball court and pickleball lines on that court. Tuesday, September 1st, on this evening, I got a concern from a resident about a possible sinkhole. Called a crew member in to place 4 cones around this. I met him out at this site. Didn't know where it was. The hole was on the side over the white line, so it was off the street, so we were able to put 4 cones around it for the evening. Called PennDOT the following morning, and they had a crew sent out basically immediately by that afternoon to put cold patch in that area, and just had a guy drive by that area today to double check that that was not opening back up or getting any bigger. Paving project in Homestead Development started on August 24th. Alan Myers had the contract for this property. I've worked with this crew on anything that was needed on a daily basis. Checked in and out with them multiple times a day just to see if they needed anything from me or anything that I could help them with. This work finished on August 31st, 2020. Milling started August 24th and ended Wednesday, August 26th. Paving started August 26th and ended Monday, August 31st. Line painting for 2020 has not been done yet. I'm working with Rich Pryor from Alpha Space Control in order to get this put on the agenda moving forward. Was approved to get the extra work done in the Homestead Development as far as the crosswalks and the stop bars. Separate quote has been prepared by Rich from Alpha Space Control and was sent over to us on 8/26/2020. Roadside mowing was completed for this round on 9/9/2020, and we'll do one last round starting in October here, very beginning of October. The Reamstown Pool acquired quotes to remove 20 trees on the left side. They're all ash trees, they're all dead trees, basically hanging around the Frisbee golf area. The 3 quotes that have remove all 20 trees, clean up, and stump grinding, with no cleanup of the stump grindings. At that point, I would send a crew in to clean up those stump grinds, add topsoil as needed, and also seed those areas. 3 quotes came from Martin's Tree Service, Cocalico Tree Service, and Premier Tree Service. Cold patching center. Just driving around township, learning the roads myself, has generated lists of cold patch areas that I needed to get done. Sent crew out multiple times for that. Have had the crew restock our cold patch supply at the shop with 1 ton cold patch. Now that paving's complete, we're moving on to different other projects. 206 North Reamstown Road. There's a new inlet top and a 20-foot section of pipe that needs, and a new head wall that needs added. Working with Brent Lee and Tony himself as far as prepping for that job and waiting for final documents and authorizations for all permits on that job. Lesher at Muddy Creek Road, an inlet top needs readjusted, a new extension and lifted. It's not a hazard, but the extension on the inside of this inlet is basically just deteriorated over time and is no longer in there. The one portion of the grate top itself is sticking down, not creating a hazard on, basically on the side of the road there. My main concern now is track sealing and start preparing for winter season. Make sure all trucks and equipment are good to go, including plows. Generate list of supplies and contact names so where to get all the supplies. And also work on getting enough driver help, which I've been in contact with a few that we've had in the past to make sure I have enough driver help for the winter time. And last is working on the budget for 2021. I spoke to Judy a few times, Penny herself, and gained a lot of information from her and a lot of helpful tools moving forward to get that taken care of as well. Any questions?
Doug Macklin. You're probably aware, but the stop sign right out here at Line Road and Wabash, which are state roads, that thing's about 4 feet off the ground.
Okay.
That's illegal. I'm sure you're aware of it,
7
but it's a state road.
Okay.
I'm not asking you guys,
Yep.
you need
Reach
to
out
put
to
the heat on it.
reach out to the state, yeah.
If somebody goes through there and
Absolutely.
you don't do nothing, you're gonna be named.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I think the law says if there's no sidewalk there, the bottom of the sign's gotta be 5 foot off the ground.
Yeah, and
If
otherwise I
I'm
think it's
correct,
7
and
feet.
if it's a sidewalk, it's gotta be 6 feet, and that's not even close to 5.
Okay. I will take note of that and put a call in for that, I appreciate that.
Okay, I think we should discuss this, trees at 68 Ring Road. What's the wish of the board?
I guess the question I had
Yep.
for you, Brett, was how, is your schedule pretty full here through the end of the year? Does the crew have any time to step in on possible cleanup on the trees, or do you think that?
Well, you and I talked a little bit, my plan was, crack sealing, I had a big generated list that was given to me, basically found on my computer. I had a crew today basically drive those areas to make sure, see what was done, see what needs done. And with them coming back, most of that list was not done. So I have a decent amount of crack sealing that needs done. There's some trees that need trimmed up at the fishing creek that you and I talked about. Mowing needs done one more time. So honestly, I think I'm gonna have plenty of work to get me through the winters, especially with preparing myself to understand the roads. Knowing what trees need trimmed up throughout the roadways to make it, visibility easier, plus the ongoing daily stuff that comes in. I have, like I said, I have 3 quotes from these companies. I also did get a separate quote from the one company as far as them coming in, basically dropping the trees and us doing the cleanup. But that's basically dragging this process out longer. And I would feel more comfortable getting this work done to allow me to disperse myself and disperse my crew to get other stuff done at this point.
That's fair. These trees, they're dying, they're dead, they're a hazard. You can't wait too much longer on that. That has to happen at the end of the year. So, with that circumstance, I think we go ahead and did that.
Yeah.
Be my thought.
My opinion, I could see dropping the trees and having them clean it for the stump grinding. I have 20 trees down there, the bathhouse, the pool, the stumps need to be ground there too, so next spring they can do the rest.
And I did get places to rent a stump grinder, so we know what that is moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I
So,
don't think we're pushing it.
Right. Yep.
So which one's the lowest bid to take them down and clean up?
We had Cocalico before, and only their job was successful.
I don't think we have to tell it already.
Weren't they up at Stony Point? Did those
I don't know.
I don't remember. Doug,
I'm sorry,
would you remember?
I didn't hear the question.
Do we have Cocalico tree service do anything for the township?
No, we had
Premier?
investment trees.
Mester did some, Mester did some, yeah.
quotes, so I
Yeah.
guess maybe we didn't use it.
Yeah, and given the price difference, I would want some kind of,
Certificate of insurance or
well, no, not certificate, but some kind of,
reference.
references.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mhm. We could try also Musters also. We have-
Messner.
Mesner.
Messner, I'm sorry. Messner's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so if this can hold off for 2 weeks, I prefer calling and getting references
Yep.
on this low quote and try to get Mesner's as well.
Okay, very good.
And maybe, they, yeah, Cocalico here, they weren't talking about any stump grinding.
I have a separate one that I just received yesterday from that,
Okay.
for that. And
So
that's-
this is just basically what we're looking for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have more complete,
Yeah.
Get more complete for it.
to get references.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Any other questions for Brent? Okay, thank you. The financial administrator, Judy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On the back table, I have provided the budget status report through September 16th and also the balance sheets for each fund through August 31st. Everything is coming in on budget. Revenues right now stand at 67% of the budget, which is exactly where we should be. Expenses are at 58%, so we are a little under budget. Being aware that the revenues are going to be lower, we're trying to take care of our expenses as well. In October, I expect cash flow of $245,000 from 3 receipts. One is the billing to the school district for $61,000. We should also receive our pension state grant money. It should be about $180,000, and a small aggressive driving grant receipt for $3,550. So that's cash flow $245,000 above the regular monies that we will receive. Expenses are in line, so I won't go over anything there unless you have specific questions on it. I'd like to talk about a few of the revenue lines. The first is the earned income tax revenues. We did receive updated budget projections from the County Tax Collection Bureau, and that is what the chart is that I gave you in your packet. So if you look at this chart, the lines are actual revenue, the bars are actual revenues and the lines are budgeted revenues. And blue is 2019 actual, orange is 2020 actual. So what we are expecting is the county has projected a change in our budget of the revenues that we'll receive. They expect them to go down by $85,000. Currently, we are under budget by $67,000. They have reduced our budget from the original by $43,000, but we actually stand at $17,000 over their revised budget projection. So I think we're going to be okay there. I will update this form and hand it out monthly as I get new adjusted numbers. If you look at the 2020 actual line, you will see every third month we get between $200,000 and $250,000 for earned income tax. And then in those 2 months in between, it does go down significantly, and that is because those are estimated months, and then they true up depending on how much money comes in. So the red numbers there are my projections. I took into consideration that we are getting about 1% more than what the county estimated in the revised budget. So you can see September I have at $66,000, October at $62,000, and December at $62,000. But if you look at the trend from the beginning of the year, they have been higher than that. So this is a very conservative estimate. Hopefully they will come in higher than what I had there projected. So again, I'll update those every month so you can see where we stand. The other,
Judy, can I just add something real quick?
yes,
So by my calculations then, what the county sent over in general terms, by what I calculate is, it's roughly just a hair under a 5% difference in terms of the budget original coming in on earned income tax versus the revised on the COVID COVID impacted budget from what they have. So I have it rounded off, it's 5%.
Okay, I did not put percentages on here, but I can certainly add that for the remainder of the month,
Right.
so we can see where we stand.
Because I think it's just easier to understand for the public and everyone from a percent perspective.
Okay,
Yeah. Thanks.
sure. Okay, and the other budget I'd like to talk about is the real estate property tax budgets. I had been concerned about these because there's actually 4 separate lines that make up this total number. It's real estate taxes current, prior, delinquent, and interims. So when I looked at the budget, the current line was coming in, it was trending low. And then the other 3 lines, the prior taxes, the delinquent taxes, and the interim taxes were well over budget. And I was trying to figure out why that was occurring. When I looked at it, past practice has not been to put the receipts for prior year's billings in that real estate tax prior line, which can cause a couple problems when we're trying to estimate what our budget should be for the coming up year. So what I did it correctly, and even though we've been budgeting $1,000 every year for prior taxes, we actually received $93,000 in 2020 that were actually taxes billed in 2019. For delinquent taxes, we actually received $56,000 and we only budgeted $18,000, and our interims have been higher as well. So I wanted to make you aware of that when we budget that this year, we're actually going to use the increase in the assessment to estimate what that line should be. And I did provide for you on the notes page how much I expect that will be. I talked with the tax collector, and from January to August, the assessment increase has been $13 million. I took out what we expect to be LRTA approved, because that we will gain that over a period of years. And our increase in assessments for 2021 should be about $9.7 million, which results in $168,000 in additional revenue. Now, we do have 2 LRTA properties that are in their second year, so we will be receiving money for those. One is Garden Spot, that will be $3,500, and the other is UGI Utilities, that will be $19,500. So total revenue we can expect from assessment increases will be $191,247.29. And we still have 2 interim billings coming out for September and October that aren't included in these numbers yet.
Just one item that I would like to play off of Judy there. So gentlemen, while you are looking at this budget, you are going to see a lot of numbers that are out of whack. And they're out of whack just for the reasons that Judy said, and these are the things that we're trying to correct. Things were done differently in the past. I'm not saying they were wrong, but we are trying to make it that this accounting is set up as the state provides and how it should be. So if it was a prior year tax, it's actually going onto the prior year line. Other things like the financial administrator's salary was all budgeted under police. Like that salary should be, we're going to have to come up with a percentage. Should it be 70-30, 60-40? But these are the corrections that we're making along the way. So you will see the budget versus actual numbers really out of line this year because we are making the corrections that need to be made. So just bear that in mind as you look down through this.
Judy, quick question. So
Yes.
that is the incremental one for UGI and for Garden Spot?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Any questions of our financial administrator? Okay, thank you, Judy. Treasurer's report, list of bills.
Okay, the treasurer's report tonight, general fund of $151,678.47. and a light fund of $12,348.70 for a combined total of $164,027.17. Any questions? If not, I make a motion that we approve those bills.
I'll second the motion. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. Old business. MS4, Ken.
Yes, Fishing Creek Park. Sometime probably within the next week, they're gonna begin the lawn to meadow conversion. And the first step on that is to spray to kill the existing vegetation. After 2 sprayings, it'll be seeded with a new mix of native grasses and native wildflowers. And it'll take a while for that all to get established and to stabilize before it looks like you would expect a wildflower meadow to be, because a lot of the perennials don't flower in their first year.
When do you have the stakes put in?
What?
When will you put the stakes in so we can go and look at it?
The boundaries of where it's going to be done?
Yeah.
We have it on a plan. He asked if we needed that done, and I thought, well, no, we don't. I mean, we have it laid out on that plan. If you want to look at it and go out there, I can meet you out there.
I think it'd be nice if we could be able to approve, yeah.
When you go to volunteer, you'll see it.
Yeah. Now, if you want to see flags out there, we can put flags out.
Would you please?
Okay, I will do that. Rose Hill. The design work on the changes to the basin are underway. We don't have a cost yet for how much the construction on those changes will cost, but we do have an estimate of the amount of sediment reduction credit we'll get from it, and that'll be approximately 15,000 pounds of sediment a year reduced by the changes we're proposing to the basin. And finally, the live steak nursery, we had talked about that last time, but never brought that up for a vote. Do I have authorization to proceed with that project? I can provide more details if you want. I did provide a handout for you as to where it would be done.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Trees. Yeah, you were talking right there at the township building.
Right, this is on Stony Run, right at the township building.
For a length of, what was it, 100,
It's
200 feet?
about 200 feet on each side.
Yeah, it really doesn't disturb much of anything there when that happens. And I think that's a good place to keep an eye on things.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should, okay, we should make a motion.
Yeah.
We have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
So the motion would be to allow plantings as needed to serve as a riparian buffer as part of this live steak nursery program. Marcy's making that motion.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, let me add a little something there. I was contacted the previous week by one of the farmers that was at our March meeting, and he relayed to me the fact that he had done some conservation work on his farm as a result of the information he gathered at our meeting. He did this to help our MS4 program to, improve his farm, get rid of the gully and add a waterway. And he was looking to help, for us to be able to gain credit for our MS4 that, we were looking for and that we were pushing in that meeting. I discussed this with Ken about how we should proceed, and we were talking about setting up a meeting with him, Ken and I, so we can go out and document what was done, and he can add that to as a paragraph perhaps to the MS4 summary that he puts together. I'd also like to see if the gentleman would be interested in us using him a little bit more as a promotional with some other farmers in the neighborhood, because he did it all at his own expense. He did not want to seek any funding to do it, but he did it to help us. So, I think that needs to be acknowledged in some way. I think that but it's indicative of the plain community we have within the township. They're there to help, but they don't want the funding. So it's kind of a catch-22. I'm happy that they want to help, but I wish there would be more of them would be energetic like that and want to step forward. So next meeting, I think we'll have a report, Ken and I, from what we find there, maybe some recommendations moving forward.
Hopefully get some pictures and we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Timber harvest ordinance.
Yeah, just a quick update on that. The document has gone back to our attorney, who has submitted it to the County Planning Commission for their review.
Any comments or questions? Yes.
Just a question for Ken. I'm going back a couple months, Ken. Back in April, you had made a comment that the MS4 reporting period was going to be ending on June the 30th, and you were hoping that we could get all the stuff in by then. Did we actually get it in by then? Did it actually end on the June 30th? I guess is the first
June
question.
30th is the end of our MS4 calendar year,
Okay.
and September 30th is the end of the reporting period. So you report by September 30th.
Okay, so we're still in line.
We're still in line in being on time with that. I have the report almost done. I just need to sit down with the supervisors and go over what we have in there, and it will be submitted on time.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Ken? Okay, thank you, Ken.
Okay, so I can take over the rest of them if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
No, go
So
ahead.
under brake retarders, this item I'm going to pull from the agenda, but it will remain current until we have further information, or we decide as a board where we want to go. As you know, to get brake retarder signs put up, that is section 4103 of the vehicle code by PennDOT. PennDOT has the sole authority to regulate vehicle equipment. The use and prohibition of use of engine brake retarders falls under this authority. So to do that, the municipality must make the request in writing to PennDOT to District 8. The district would then review our letter and request. The municipality must subsequently enact an ordinance, and then the enforcement would be done by our police. And there's there's 6 different criteria that we must meet for approval. So as stated before, in order to proceed with this, instead of just for one road, we need to get together a list of roads and do this one since an ordinance has to be enacted, because that is an expense. So although it needs to stay current, I am pulling that off till we can get to that at a later time. As far as the electric charging stations, there are 5 electric charging stations located in close proximity to East Cocalico Township, Adamstown Borough, and the Truthville by Hilton has a couple, 3 or 4 different locations: Cherry Alley, Reading Road, and North Reading Road in Alpharetta. Adamstown Borough currently charges 10 cents per kilowatt hours to use. True Hilton has 2 locations of the facility right here in the township. The billing information is gathered when the phone app is used. So as we only had 1 resident inquire about this, I do not feel that the township should spend the money to put it at our location when we have so many close by. Okay. The last item I have is the bus service to Heatherwoods. As you know, we did inquire about that. They told us that August is the month for their annual route schedule change. We did get back in touch with them. At this time, they said, with the decrease in ridership and the uncertainty in future fundings due to COVID-19, along with the added and unforeseen expenses created for the prevention of COVID-19 efforts, the planning team has recommended no changes in current service. This includes and refers to adding or decreasing presence